Namaste. This will be a Yin Yoga session. So we will start with Vajrasana or Hero's Pose. Take a few moments here, relax our body, our mind, close our eyes. To really bring our attention to our body, our breath, our inner self. Relaxing our mind, means we are gently bringing attention to the breath. Rather, we put just about 15 to 20% of our attention to the breath. So let the breath flow. We are just an observer, observing the flow of our breath. Keep doing that. And we'll start with the first pose. Come to a squatting or a Malasana. Feel free to move your hips to the left, to the right. Before we stay stagnant, no movement. If this is too much for you, maybe you want to put something to support your heels. For some who cannot squat. So for you, if you have no problem squatting, your palms together, then push your elbows towards your knees. Stay here with a short 4 minutes here. I love to keep the eyes closed, so I'll bring myself back to the breath and observe the flow of the breath again. While doing that, my body naturally relaxes a lot. So let the hips fall, sink, without holding any tension or engagement to the muscles. Just relax. I love doing Yin Yoga. After 4 or 5 days of Yang or Yang Yoga, because my practice is Ashtanga. So it usually creates a lot of engagements and tension to the muscles as well when we do a lot of vinyasa. So having one session of Yin Yoga every week, it will help me to relax further. While keeping the whole body relaxed, includes our facial muscles. Means we also relax our eyelid, our forehead, chin, including the tongue, we realize that we are so used to Yang yoga that our body, by default, will come to engaging the muscle more, the glutes. When we're doing this pose, our body tries to be active all the time. We just have to switch our mind to let the body know that this is a yin session. So the more relaxed we are, the more we'll get benefited from the yin practice. The more relaxed we are, our body manages to open up more and stretch the fascia more. It's just last minute here. So slowly, come up from the pose, release your arms. You may feel a lot of sensation between your thigh. Just slowly sit down on the floor and bring the knees together. Gently rest the forehead down to your knees. Just relax for a while. Be an observer all the time. Observe our breath and observe the sensation of the body. Observe the sensation that this pose, the last pose, Malasana, brings to us. Come to the second pose here. We'll do a caterpillar pose here. So it's just a forward bend. Either you want to bring the heels close to each other or you want to bring the legs, your feet slightly apart. It doesn't matter. I usually do Yin Yoga without warm up. So I'm keeping my body cold or not warm. So if you feel that this is too much for you, usually you will go down a lot, or you will go to a very deep forward bend. But if you don't do a proper warm-up, you may find that this is not possible. So be gentle to our body. You can start with blocks. Then we'll stay 4 minutes here. I usually do use blocks to help me. So I'm just keeping my legs relaxed, not engaging them at all. So I'll slowly put the forehead down to the blocks. I'll rest my arms next to the legs, not holding anything, not trying to get deep to the pose, but it will come with time. So after 1 minute or so, we lower down the block. We lower down too. I do some adjustment to it. I constantly remind myself that this is a yin session. That I will remind my body to stop thinking so much, to switch their habit of a lot of engagement, which we usually do during our any other yoga, to a very passive one. So it's very interesting. At the same time, it's challenging. Our body may respond in a very different way. Like they don't want it to be, because we have been asking them to stay active, and now we want them to be passive. So they may get confused at times. But we are the master of the body. We can use our mind to pass the message, to control our body. Tell our body that it's fine, it's totally alright. When we need passive practice, we'll come to a passive practice. In this pose, different people will have different sensations. Some of you may feel a lot on the hamstring, so you may want to micro bend your knees. Some of you may feel the back. This is a slow stretch for the back of the body, including from the heels towards the back, upper back. Just relax. There's no wrong to feel different from other people. Slowly we want to come up, exit from the pose. To use your own palms, use your arms to push yourself up. Just move your legs a little bit. Bring your palms to the back. You point your fingers to the back. Roll your shoulders back. Open up your chest a bit. I like to stay here for a few breaths. I push my chest forward and up, so to lengthen my upper body and to open up the front of the body, to stretch the front of the body a bit. So to say, to counter what we have done on the caterpillar pose. Slowly come up from it. I love to do a butterfly from here, so bring the feet to touch each other. It depends on you, everyone. So if this is too much for you, bring your heels away from your buttocks, from your hips. So inhale once, we lengthen the spine. Exhale, we slowly walk our fingertips forward. Bring your upper body down. A lot of you, maybe some of you, you'll be here, alright? You can't go down further. It's alright to use the blocks to help support your body, because we are going to stay 4 minutes here. So, but for those of you, you can go further down. You can also listen to your body and then stay at wherever your body allows you. Remember, no forceful energy to push your body down. It's completely passive. You just have to relax your thigh, your knees, your hips, to let your knees fall by gravity, by time, towards the earth. So to let your hips slowly open up by itself. At the same time, if you relax further your upper body, but also sink, getting closer to the earth. You may come to realize that when Yin practice is a lot to work on our hips, our thigh, so as the hip joint is the biggest joint in our body. A lot of tension actually kept or gathered at the hip joints when we move. Almost all movements that we do, it requires the movement at the hip joints. So a lot of emotions, a lot of tension captured inside. So Yin Yoga focuses a lot to open up the hips, so to let these emotions, tension out from the body. It doesn't release by just holding a pose for 5 to 10 breaths. It requires longer time to slowly let these emotions and tension come out. One more minute. Constantly check if our attention is still with our breath. Sometimes the sensation is too overwhelming. We're staying in this pose or certain poses. So just try to switch your attention to your breath. Instead of on the sensation itself. Then we realize that the sensation comes and goes, so as our breath. They never stay in our body. So the air comes and goes. Slowly we come up from the pose. Gently bring the knees together. Again, bring the palms behind. Open up the chest one more time. In case we hunch too much, this counter will help to release the discomfort of our body. The next pose, we are going to a low lunge. This pose is usually not easy. The challenging part is to hold for 4 minutes. So try not to go to a very deep low lunge first. And if you need to support your knee, give more cushion to it. Okay, when you're ready, I'm going to stay here with the help of the block. Or some of you have done blocks at home. You may want to support your palms, your arms on your right thigh. I'm going to stay here for 4 minutes. So there'll be a total of 8 minutes for both sides. Try to keep your right knee right over your right ankle. When you relax, try to bring attention to your right foot. Your whole right foot touching the floor. Just try to let the whole right foot touching the floor so that the weight are evenly distributed to the whole foot instead of the side. One side, either left or right. So we try to distribute the whole weight to the whole right foot. But if this is too much for your left knee, support yourself with the blocks. So try to push the blocks away. If that is too much for you, you may even want to bring your forearm to the blocks. This may help you. Try the way. Try to bring attention to your breath instead of to the sensation. Whatever sensation that you have on the left quad, left hip flexor now. And I was in Bali attending a Yin session. I love the word that introduced by the teacher. Introduce EWOP, E-W-O-P. We're all wondering what is the meaning of that word. It stands for everything works out perfectly. You are here. All the sensations that you have now are fine. We are alright. No matter what sensations that we're feeling, that's all fine. And we can stay instead of move away each time. It's the last 1 minute here. By the way, doing this low lunge to stretch our left hip flexor is really good if we are working on front split. Alright, so slowly push yourself up. Take your time gently. Alright. Once we are alright, switch leg to the left side. Or you can take your time to relax your body for a while before you go to the second side. You can move your hips up and down. Take your time. Then we'll start the next 4 minutes here. Remember, you can start with not so deep, low lunge. Support yourself with the block. Most of you may need it. I need it. And the rest 4 minutes are with the breath, instead of with the sensation, with the pain. But it's alright. If you want to monitor the pain, the sensation, it's okay. That doesn't mean that we have to come up from the pose. We can observe it. Observe the sensation comes to the body, and observe by time the sensation goes away from our body. They don't stay. If you want to experience it, that's the right time that we stay with it and observe, because nothing is permanent, including the pain. Sometimes we learn deeply about the philosophy, theories that we always read from books. We thought that we realized them by just reading. Instead, we did not really understand the real meaning until there's a practical way for us to experience it. So if you read about the impermanence, meditation, maybe this is the right time for you to experience it yourself. Very fast. If you bring attention to your breath, and your breath is long, deep breath. In fact, 1 minute it only takes like 5 to 6 cycles of breath. So if 4 minutes, it'll be a total of like within 30 breaths. Observe that maybe one part of one side it's more challenging compared to another. It's alright. It's alright. We have not a balanced body all the time. Doing yoga is helping us to find that sense of balance back. And slowly we want to come up from the pose. Take your time again. Alright, it's a lot of sensation. Maybe this is overwhelming because you don't have that kind of sensation before. Especially when we do Yang Yoga, it's always 5 to 10 breaths. Even to the split, full split is just a while, not long. So slowly come back here. Let's slowly come to a downward facing dog. I just want to stretch a bit on my whole back of the body. So I want to move my legs, move my heels up and down. just to feel my hips, my legs, and to feel good about it. Make myself feel comfortable. Because the next pose we are moving to a swan or a pigeon pose. It is another challenging pose for those who have tight hips. This used to be a very challenging pose for me. I used to come up with, when I exit the pose, I came up with